All righty. Hello, everybody. It's Derek Overby, and I am here with Tom and Katie from Buyside. Those of you that have been around for a while you might know Tom and Katie from our old Moxie days. They were both at Moxie Works prior to coming over to Buyside, so we're happy to be reunited with them because we adored them and thought of the world of them. So glad to have them back. I'm just going to give you a little introduction of kind of what's going on here. I know we've got both corporate and franchise offices on the line. We've got both managers and admins on the line. We have been working with Buyside for over a year now. We actually integrated Buyside into the main brokerage website. If you have ever clicked on the What's Your Home Worth tab at the top of the Intero.com website, you are taken into the Buyside process. It gives you three, there's a normal AVM, and this gives you three valuations of a property so you can get a tighter kind of look at what that property might go for. What we're going to be talking about today is now we are at the point where we feel comfortable enough, as we've gone through the shelter in place and everything that adheres to that. We are now going to be rolling out the agent portion of this product. So the agents are going to now have their own presence within the Buyside world. And we are very excited about this because we think it's going to help immensely on the list side. And so I don't think I missed anything. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Tom and Katie to kind of take us through the training, the overview. So Tom, take it away.
Right on. Thank you, Derek. Like you said, we're really excited to be back. I remember coming to all 6 of the offices and coming to see you guys, which was great. So we're really excited to be back. And now we're with Buyside, and we're going to show you what Buyside is all about. So today is the manager training. So we are going to go over what's inside the product. So here's a quick agenda. But just keep in mind, at the actual agent training, we're going to get a little bit more into the nitty-gritty of what all of those buttons are. So today, what we're going to talk about is who is Buyside and what is it going to be able to do for your agent. So you'll see some of that same value proposition that the agents are going to see. So they're actually going to be able to get that same deck and get that value proposition. But when we're explaining it to our agents, it's important to let them know why they're spending their time with this. It's important to know, because that is one of our most valuable commodities, is our time. We want to know why we're spending our time with this thing. So we're going to be able to do that. And so the 3 things that we're going to take a look at today are your home valuation site, so the actual site itself. So when your agents are sending that out to their clients, what are they going to see? How do they distribute that? And what happens? Where do the leads go? So we'll briefly touch on that. We'll also talk about your buyer market analysis. So we've all heard of the CMA. I know you have, because I showed you the CMA, but this is your BMA. So this is your buyer market analysis. And this is going to help you show your clients what's going on in the market right now. CMAs are great, especially those digital CMAs that you guys have and are using. But the only problem is that they show you what's happened in the past. With our BMAs, we're able to see what that buyer information is right now. So when we generate that, we can combine those 2 things into this world-class listing presentation that is going to be something that your agents can provide that a lot of other agents cannot. And then we'll talk about buyer match. So when we have a listing, well, how do we find buyers for that? And this is a story our CEO loves to tell, and that's when he was in real estate and he was getting all of these listings, people kept asking him, how do you find buyers so fast? And he said, that's easy. I don't look for buyers. I look for the agent that has buyers. And so we're going to take that thought, and we've given that power to you guys, where you have this power to, when you have a listing, see all of the buyers that are in your brokerage whose buyer profile matches that listing. So you can get those listings closed that much faster. Now we are going to have a Q&A, so if you do have any questions, there is the questions box over on the right-hand side. That should be pretty familiar, and you can ask them throughout the presentation. We can keep up with questions, but we will address all of those once we get to the very end. Now, I also am going to run you through your manager dashboard. So this is something that, again, you have where you can see some of this stuff. And we have some really cool things that other clients have done, like run competitions, and how simple it is to see what the results of those competitions are with your manager dashboard. So we'll briefly take a look at that at the very end. Okay, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Now, the first thing that we like to tell our agents when we start with this is that big data is not the future. Big data is now. And what that means is that all of this information online that we've had, that when you go online, when you are looking or shopping or looking for clients, all of that information is online, and we like to call those signals because those signals are going to direct which way we are able to show people things. What way is the market going? Where is the industry going? We can see that through the information that is online. So that big data is our signals. Now, just to show you that you can take signals and predict accurately what's going on, we have this great slide. So you should recognize this guy. His name's Nikola Tesla. Some of us drive a car named after him, but he said this, and keep in mind, he said this in 1926. So he said, when wireless is perfectly applied, the whole earth will be converted into a huge brain, which is in fact, all things being particles of a real and rhythmic whole. What does that sound like to us? That sounds like the internet. So he was talking about all of this information. When wireless is perfectly applied, it's going to be a huge brain. So now we have access to all of this information instantaneously. So he was able to predict that the internet was going to be a thing in 1926. We shall be able to communicate with one another instantly, irrespective of distance. Not only this, through television and telephony, we shall see and hear one another as perfectly as though we were face to face, despite intervening distances of thousands of miles. So not only is he talking about the internet, but he's talking about technology that we're using for this presentation. I'm talking to people across the country in whatever time zone you're in real time. So he was able to look at the signals of his time and predict what the technology was going to be like today, that many years later. Was that almost 100 years ago he was able to do this? So keep in mind that if you have the signals, we can interpret that to give us that competitive edge. Now, there are a few companies that do this